go to the images, and this is how actually the thumbs.db actually looks like. So for an example, let's say you have a folder which has multiple, let's say, images and all. So thumbs.db, even without opening the folder, it actually take a screenshot, a few pixels of a screenshot of all the file that is there, and it gives you an idea, okay, what files to expect in that folder, for an example, right? So this images is actually saved somewhere in the Windows, like this images. And if you see, and let's say this folder, the ceremony folder was actually deleted by the, let's say, by the attacker, or let's say by the policy violator, for example. So even if that folder was deleted, if you can kind of go and kind of, if you know how to access that thumbs.db, you can kind of figure out, okay, there was a folder previously on that host, and that folder was having some kind of images in that. Okay, and you can have some idea just by looking at the thumbs.db folder. And if you see, this is a thumbs.db file over here, which is actually a database, which actually contains all the images, or let's say the images. So it will actually contain the screenshots of the folder. Okay, so I hope you got an idea what all things you can kind of look at, even if that files were kind of deleted from the folder. Okay, so we'll look at, yeah, go on.
So, for example, if there is some attack happening and if there is some malware running, and it is like it is deleting all the IOCs, and in that case, should we also look in the at like thumbs this DB that you showed, thumbs.db? So because the attacker, he will try to clean all the logs so that he can clean his traces after the attack. So in that case, can we like go to these locations and figure out what actually he has deleted and what he was trying to do?
Okay, so in that case, like if the attacker is taking some kind of anti-forensic approach, deleting the files, let's say that person, so that attacker might have also deleted thumbs.db, for an example. Okay, so if, let's say, now there are multiple scenarios that would come up from a question. So let's say the attacker has deleted multiple of the artifacts, but let's say thumbs.db was not deleted. So in that case, definitely, like let's say when the attacker was, let's say, visiting the folder, so maybe thumbs.db has captured few of the thumbnail files which were existing around the same time frame when that malware attacker was active. So from that you can figure out what all files the attacker might have seen on the host. So that is one answer. So let's say you got a thumbs.db image and it is, let's say, for today, and the attacker also was there for today. So then you can say that, okay, the attacker has somehow got an idea of what all files were there in that folder. So you can expect that kind of information from there. The other thing is that even if the attacker, let's say, has deleted these files like thumbs.db and all, you can actually recover those files actually from the host level analysis. So let's say even if the attacker has deleted, let's say, all these artifacts from the host, you can actually recover all those things with a, let's say, 60 to 70% success rate. You can kind of recover those artifacts and again kind of perform your analysis. So it depends upon scenario how sophisticated the attacker is. But if the attacker is really sophisticated, what that attacker might do is that they will kind of delete all the artifacts, and they will make sure that you can't recover those artifacts. Okay, so there will be different scenarios, but dealing with the sophisticated attackers, let's say there like let's say in 100 of cases that you encounter, maybe only one case will be like that, but 99 of the case will be like where the attacker has deleted the things, but you were able to somehow recover the data. And let's say the attacker had deleted thumbs.db, but you'll be able to recover that out by doing a disk analysis, and you can kind of get those files. Okay, so is there any other clarification or any other additional query on this one?
No, so thank you so much.
Okay, so now thing is that what I'm meaning to say, the three things that we have seen is that on the high level right now for today, like application execution, we can kind of look at what all files are executed, file folders opening, then all the files that were deleted, we can look at those like thumbs.db. Then there is a Windows search database. So let's say a file was deleted, and but the thing is that most time what we do is that in the Windows search bar, we search for certain files. We click on start and we search for certain files. Let's say we search for a file abc.txt. So those keyword search that we perform is actually saved in this kind of locations in Windows 7 or Windows XP. So you can actually go to that and just kind of parse that out and figure out, okay, what that user or the attacker was actually searching previously on the host. Okay, so you can get a lot of information again from there. Again, thing is that recycle bin, you already know, like, okay, you can go to the recycle bin and kind of figure out the deleted files, but it has that recycle bin has a specific uh, format, which is like it actually create two files. One start with $I and one start with $R. And $R is the, let's say, the actual data, and $I is the, what it contains is the data metadata, like what is the file name of the data of this data, what the date and time. So if you remember, when you are in the recycle bin and you want to restore a file, and you don't want to delete that, but you want to restore that file to the same location, so what you do is that you do a right click and you do restore the file. So in that case, what happened, Windows actually read this $I file and figure out where that file was actually existing before, and then it restored that to that same format. So even like, let's say a user has deleted some of the file, it is in the recycle bin folder, and let's say they have also deleted this $R, but from the $I we can figure out what was that file name that the user has deleted and what was the specific location where that file was existing. So there are a lot of things that we can figure out from the recycle bin folder and a lot of other artifacts. So we'll look at most of them, not all, but actually most of them uh, in our next class. Okay. So today I'll quickly give an idea. Now let's say for the browser activity. Now let's say we want to figure out, okay, what all websites are visited by the attacker on the host, or let's say there's an employee who had done some kind of policy violation. Let's say the user is visiting Google Drive and kind of uploading certain files. So using, so there are a lot of artifacts on the Windows. Even if, let's say, even if the user is visiting the website via incognito mode, even though you can figure out what all website the user has visited by looking at few of the artifacts that is kind of mentioned over here. Okay, so we'll kind of look at that also, because even like in the ignito mode, let's say the Chrome browser is not storing your data, like what websites you have visited in ignito mode, but there are certain artifacts of the Windows where it records that, okay, what URLs were visited and in what mode that URLs were visited, like what is visited in ignito mode or it was visited in like normal mode. So there are a lot of information about that too in the window artifact. So we'll look at most of them. Like few of the things that we'll look at is like, let's say, download history or like the history. So if, let's say, there's a Chrome browser in the Windows host, how we can figure out, and let's say that Chrome browser was deleted, for example, how we can figure out, okay, what all websites are visited or what all files are downloaded. So thing is that the Chrome browser actually creates .sqlite file, .sqlite file internally. It's a kind of a database which records all the files, or let's say history and downloads folder that were made earlier. So we can parse that SQLite file if we know the exact location. So let's say for Google Chrome, the location is somewhat like this. So we can go to that path, get the SQLite file, parse that out, and get the data out of that. Okay. So there was one tool actually which I think me and my team actually developed long back. Okay. And what it does was that it was actually, let's say, the scenario was that, for example, the scenario over there was that we were investigating a user, and we wanted to know, okay, what that user is knowing, who else, like, does the user know, let's say, another user B, for an example. Okay, so one of the thing that one of my me and my teammates had done is like we developed a software. What that software does is like it takes the RAM memory out of the system. Okay, and what it does is like, let's say for example facebook.com. So when you visit the facebook.com, it actually records, okay, what all friends URL you have visited, or let's say you have opened the facebook.com on your web page or on a Google Chrome browser, and it has a section like mutual friends or like friends sections. So this all data is actually saved for a certain amount of time in the RAM memory. Okay, so even if you close that browser, those kind of data, like who are your friends and who are your